But Charlie, I would like to really start with you. You know, I think that Anthony, we won't include you, but most of us are a little bit gray in the hair now. You've been at this a long time, have seen extraordinary change in this sector, and have now seen what's happening to reinvent the role that nonprofits play and that others working with nonprofits play as we go about the world. Talk about that a little bit and set the context for this conversation. What are the real big changes that you think are important?
Well, thanks, Mike. And the first thing I want to say is speak for yourself about the baby boomers exiting stage right.
I did.
A week or two ago, President Obama mentioned how much the decision process about global economic architecture had changed from the time that Franklin Roosevelt and Winston Churchill designed the system over a couple of glasses of brandy. That analogy, I think, really holds also in terms of international development assistance and philanthropy. 30 or 40 years ago, you really could have had 25 people in a room representing the bilaterals and the World Bank and a couple of foundations and 2 or 3 United Nations agencies, and that would have been international development assistance. Today, first of all, private development assistance in the U.S. Is larger than official development assistance. About $35 billion a year is programmed to development assistance through private institutions, which is certainly significantly more than flows through official channels. And that's a whole different quantitative situation. Lots and lots and lots of new sectors have come online. Of course, some of the foundations have been around for a while, but there are lots of new ones. Corporates are more and more involved in philanthropy and international philanthropy. The mega philanthropists and their leadership, celebrities, Bono and many others, universities, think tanks. So there are a whole new set of players. They are large and influential. And there's tremendous innovation going on, but largely within each one of these sectors or compartments. So the media has lots of innovation, the universities have lots of innovation, the corporates and so on and so forth. But in my experience, there is a huge lack of the kinds of people and fora and institutions that actually can bring all of these different players together in a way where the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. Because I think we would all agree now, to a large extent, sadly, the parts are greater than the whole. Our graduate schools, I think, are really training fantastic policy and research people, but not the kinds of people who can bring all these different kinds of elements together, media, celebrities, and so on. It's a much more entrepreneurial task. At Save the Children, we have hundreds of brilliant PhDs in public health and so on and so forth, but they could hardly recognize an ER celebrity if they ran into him on a panel. So the skills to bring all of this together are not there. There are some examples, I think, on the domestic side. The breast cancer movement has been a tremendous example of how research universities, government agencies, foundations, corporations, individual activists, media corporations and foundations have really rallied and taken an issue not only to a whole new level of importance, but a whole new level of success. I know Ray Chambers was here earlier today, and I think Ray has been a real spark plug in the malaria side. And again, you have sports leagues, you have celebrities, you have individuals buying basketball nets. You've brought the whole orchestra
the
together.
Methodist Church.
So what is missing by analogy, it seems to me, is that the field of philanthropy now, and meaning these sectors, the foundation sector, the corporate sector, the celebrity sector, the NGO sector, are more and more creative, but each of us is playing our particular instrument more and more loudly. And what's really missing is that there's no score, so to speak. There's not a piece of music that we're all running off of, and there's no conductor. So here we all are with our wonderful different instruments, but ending up with a cacophony rather than the kind of music we ought to be making.